What's up guys, Ryan from Motorcycle.com here in the island of Cyprus to check out Triumph's new Trident 800. So before we get into the riding impressions for the Trident 800, I wanted to take a chance to chat with Chief Product Officer Steve Sargent for Triumph Motorcycles about where the Trident 800 lands in the roadster naked bike category for Triumph. Obviously, there could be some confusion about street triple, speed triple, Trident 800 cc's. Where does this motorcycle land? What's going to change, if anything, in that naked bike category for Triumph?
Yeah, let's try and tidy that up for you. So the street triple has been one of our most successful motorcycles over the years, and as we've refined that model, we've pushed it deliberately in a slightly more sporty direction. So obviously, you know, the ergonomics are a little bit more sporty. The engine has been developed to deliver power at the top end, etc., etc. It's an awesome bike for riding on fast roads. It's an awesome bike for taking on the track, but it definitely sits in that kind of more sporty area of the market.
Right.
We brought the Trident 660 in deliberately to be more of an all-rounder and more of a roadster.
Okay.
And as a 660, it's a great bike for people who are coming into motorcycling for the first time. A great first big bike, you know, it's not too intimidating. People don't see it as being too powerful. You know, it's a nice relaxed ergonomic.
Right.
But because we've got the street triple over here and we've got the Trident 660 over here, there's an obvious gap really in the middle between those for a roadster package that gives a bit more performance than you get out of a Trident 660. Now, a lot of people would say, well, what about the street triple R? Now, that's a model that we've now stopped production.
Is that right?
Yeah, so we've stopped production of the Street Triple R. Quite honestly, with the Street Triple R, a lot of people looked at the Street Triple and they only had eyes for the RS. Because, because if you want a Street Triple, you want the ultimate Street Triple, right? And the ergonomic was still a little bit sporty for people who wanted a bit more of an all-rounder, a roadster. So that's kind of where the Trident 100 sits right in that gap between the 660 and the Street Triple.
Okay. Do you feel like the Trident is kind of coming in where the Speed Triple originally came in, like in the 90s, kind of that all-rounder bike that got more and more sporty over the years and is more pointed and sporty, whereas this is coming back to just being more focused on an exciting all-round motorcycle? Yeah,
so I mean, for me, I think the bike that this most closely represents would be the 2007 Street Triple, I would say. Okay. Which was, you know, quite a relaxed ergonomic, quite wide bars. You know, it was a very exciting road bike, but it wasn't too sporty. And I think this kind of is a natural successor to that kind of motorcycle.
Obviously, this shares a lot with the new 660, but there have been changes. What, I guess, if any, were there any big engineering feats that you really had to kind of, you know, get everyone's head at the table to really figure out how you were going to build a motorcycle that's relatively very close to the 660 in size and everything? You know, we've got some different, obviously there's some different changes in the engine and whatnot here, but it's fairly close. Was there anything specific that became a challenge in creating this motorcycle?
Well, I think one of the biggest challenges we had was to try and keep the bike as compact as it could possibly be. So obviously we had the 660 that was designed around a 660cc engine. Putting an 800cc engine in here into what is effectively the same package is always going to be a challenge. And then on top of that, we've moved to triple throttle bodies on this engine. So
from the single on
the single that was originally on the 660. So obviously you've got a lot more that you need to package within that central part of the motorcycle. So we've had to make quite a few changes on the inside of the frame. It's completely invisible to the customer. So this external run is essentially, that's the same width that it's always been on the Trident 660, but internally we've made some changes to be able to accommodate those triple throttle bodies.
Okay. And I mean, was there much, I mean, because if you were gonna kind of hog out some of the frame in there, you got to make sure it's still stiff enough to maintain the composure that you're looking for the chassis. Yeah,
so we've changed some of the structure of it. So actually this piece here, which is the throttle bodies sit right behind that, that's actually a forging now. Okay. So, you know, obviously with the forging you get a lot of strength out of that. It means that you can, on the inside, you can waste away a bit of the space to accommodate those throttle bodies.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys have done a lot of, you know, different technology with forging and whatnot through the years. So I guess from all the expertise in doing that, it was maybe somewhat easier to work that into this package. I mean, it's easy for me to say, easy for us to say. The engineers might not feel the same way.
Yeah, but that's the advantage really of, you know, having the Hinckley Triumph being around since the early 1990s now. We've built up a significant engineering team of people who've been with the company for a long period of time.
Right.
And all of that knowledge that we've gained over the years goes into every new motorcycle that we make. So you're always looking for how do you make the next one better, how do you make the next one better, but it's always built on the knowledge that you've gained from doing the previous bikes.
Of course, yeah, absolutely. Awesome, well, yeah, thanks for kind of giving us an idea of where this is gonna land, giving the RIP to the Street Triple R, and giving a little bit of insight into kind of what you had to change here.
Yep.
I appreciate it. I've been fortunate enough to ride with you on a few different press launches, and it was another good one today, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you very much.
All right,
cheers.
Cheers. So it's great to get to chat with guys like Steve Sargent, Stuart Wood. There's so many great people here to explain the technology that goes into Triumph motorcycles these days, and it's been incredibly impressive over many years at this point. The way Triumph has refined motorcycles over the decades has really culminated in incredible motorcycles these days, and the Triumph Trident 800 is a really interesting proposition for me. You know, I wanted to chat with Steve to talk about where this thing lands in the lineup, because it is interesting, right? And it could be confusing for some people, but you've got a 798cc triple built into this chassis that we saw come up from the Trident 660, and it was a beautiful bike. I mean, it still is. A lot of people love it. It's a good stepping stone for people looking to get kind of that lower side of middleweight. We've got a lot of options these days. Now with the Trident 800, you have a step up to a bike that really delivers a lot of performance in a upright, easy to use, everyday kind of package. So let's start with the engine. Again, 798cc triple. The engine is an absolute peach. I'm a huge fan of triple engines. I have been for a long time. My first street motorcycle was a triple. We had some rain, sleet, all kinds of stuff in the first half of the day today. And when we got on this thing, it kind of reminded me of the first time I rode the MT-07 in Spain in an absolutely torrential downpour. And if you don't know, the MT-07, MT stands for Master of Torque, which is not the kind of motorcycle I wanted to be riding in the rain. When we took off in this, wet roads, it wasn't raining right out of the gate, but really quick getting up to 5,000 RPM, and then after that, this thing pulls hard, and it really pulls like all the way up to the red line. And kind of going around town, I was like, huh, this might be the first time that I consider putting a bike in rain mode, which I didn't. I left it in road because it has a really nice linear throttle response, and everything was really predictable and whatnot. It was fine, but after 5,000, it really pulls hard. And I mean, whether you're around town or out in the canyons, mountains, whatever you're doing, the engine is a ton of fun in every way. You know, if you're under 5,000 RPM, it still pulls smoothly, no shuddering, anything like that from 2,000 RPM up. And then once you're out and you have some dry roads like we had in the last half of the day, you can really exploit the engine. And the thing just, it's exhilarating, it's docile around town, it really does a good all-rounder job. In terms of the chassis, even though they had to make some changes to fit the 3 throttle bodies into this bike versus the single and the 660, it still feels incredibly slim between the legs. I would say the ergonomics overall I liked, but it wasn't, it wasn't all cherry for me. I love the wide handlebar. I love how thin it feels between my knees. I'm not a huge guy, but this is not a lot of space to move around. The tank feels really long, and the seat feels a little bit slanted, so it feels like you're kind of constantly being pushed into the tank here. And then if you try to scoot back, if you're riding really aggressively and you want to move around on the bike, you kind of run into this passenger seat pretty quick. It's not by any means a deal breaker, but it is a little niggle that I would point out. I think bigger riders might have more of an issue. I didn't have any problems with the bend at the knee. With the foot pegs, I'm 5'8" with a 30-inch inseam, so not a big guy. I think if you're really a bigger guy, this seat might be a little bit limiting just in the way the tank comes back. But once we kind of had some dry roads and we were able to start going through the corners quite a bit quicker, I really liked how I could kind of get my legs into this tank and just grab a hold of the tank, keep my hands light on the bars, and just really enjoy how flickable this machine is. I mean, it's really nice. Up front, you've got the show suspension, you've got compression rebound adjustment, and in the shock, you've got rebound and preload. I did crank the preload up a couple steps. It is like a stepped adjuster. So I would probably recommend that. All the way out was nice and comfortable around town, but once the pace picked up, it felt a bit kind of choppered out, so we needed to get that balance adjusted. But after we did that, it was a blast to ride. The brakes, the front brake feels really strong. It's a steel braided line, which is really nice to have. You really get into the initial bite quickly, but there's not a lot of feel there. There's an immense amount of braking, performance, and you can get the thing stopped and get the thing slowed down confidently and easily, but there's just not a lot of feel in that initial bite. Not a deal breaker by any means, but just something that I noticed. And then, like I mentioned with some of the modes, you do have quite a bit of technology on this motorcycle too. You have 3 ride modes: sport, road, rain. Again, unless we had perfectly dry roads and we were really able to just get after it without too much traffic or whatever, kind of preferred road mode. Sport was nice when we had open road and open dry road, but road mode was really smooth. You're still getting the full horsepower torque out of everything. It's just kind of the difference in the throttle smoothness and whatnot. And tied to that are the TC and ABS settings, which are all IMU based. So you do have lean sensitive ABS and TC. You can also turn the traction control completely off or adjust it differently. Like if you want rain traction control in sport mode, you can do that. So you have the options there. Really nice to see the IMU based stuff on this motorcycle, because again, it's pretty torquey after 5,000 RPM. You can get into it, you can be, good chance you could probably use it. You also have Bluetooth connectivity. You've got kind of a TFT round dash, kind of classic. This is like a melding of the Speed and Street Triple line with the modern classic line. So you've got modern styling with this thing, but kind of harkening back to that day before the bug-eyed Speed Triples. I'm a huge fan, but some people prefer that round headlight. I would say it's a really interesting package, a good option for people to have if you're looking to step up from your Trident 660. You like that a lot and you want just something that's a little bit more advanced performance technology, whatnot. I think this could be a really cool motorcycle. Yeah, so I mean, after a half day in the dry here in Cyprus, I would love to get this bike back home and spend some more time with it, because it definitely deserves some more time. I think it's going to be a solid contender in the market against things like the MT-09, other bikes in that category, Z900, F900, some of the bikes that Triumph even admitted that they were kind of seeing as competitors to this machine. At $10,000, just under $10,000 in the US. This is a substantial package, so I would love to get these bikes together, do a back-to-back test, really just spend more time on this one and kind of see how things stack up. I mean, Triumph's been doing a great job. Throttle response is great. Quickshifter is really nice. That's not to say that the Yamaha's throttle response and quickshifter and overall package is also not very nice. So I think those two head-to-head are going to be some really strong contenders in this kind of upper middleweight class of naked roadster type bikes. But we'll have to wait till we get back stateside, get out of what's turning out to probably end up being a pretty good sunset. Hopefully we can get these bikes together with some of the other ones I mentioned, have a nice little comparison, see what you guys think. But for now, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and from Cyprus, we'll see you next time.